Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the show. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Mohammad Zakaria.
Alaikum salam.
Prior to the break, we were discussing that key topic of how Islam, or how the commemoration, not commemoration, but the martyrdom of Imam Hussain Islam can go out to different sections, or if it does, in how and what. If you could possibly elaborate on that a little bit further now.
Sure.
I'd appreciate it.
Shukran. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, before the break, we were mentioning that we need to use the local languages so that when people see, for example, the julus, the procession being taken out, and we have banners in Arabic proclaiming the faithfulness of the Imam alayhi salam, Allah Azza wa Jalla's pleasure with the Imam, the love of the Imam for Allah Azza wa Jalla, and vice versa, they're all in a foreign language.
Yes.
So we are aware of these factors, for example, Islamophobia and also attacks against Muslims in different parts of the world. What we need to do is contextualize the message.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. When we see Christians in different parts of the world, but usually in Philippines and Mexico, where we have a strong Catholic tradition,
yes,
crucifying themselves or reenacting what they say happened to Isa alayhi salam.
The beating of the chest.
Exactly.
Yes.
But we understand the context, don't we?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
We may not accept it, but we understand, they're doing it to feel something for the supposed death of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. We also need to contextualize and explain why we are on the julus, why we are on the march. We have to translate these banners so readers of other than Arabic can understand them. We need to have leaflets in the local language which we can hand out to people, which bring to their minds, to their understanding, a short introduction of regards to who Imam alayhi salam was and why he stood.
Yes.
That not only did he stand to reform the ummah, but he also came to save humanity, because Islam is the deen of humanity. Islam is the salvation of all humanity. So we need to contextualize and we need to invite in. So when we are having our majalis, as I mentioned before the break, we've had majalis in the kanisa, in churches, and we've invited the priest in, and we've invited the parishioners into the church, which is theirs anyway,
absolutely, to
join us.
Yes.
And nothing which we say, if we are truly commemorating the shahadat of our Imam alayhi salam and his followers, goes against humanity.
No.
It's only when we get into the exaggerations that you go against human logic, and you go against what all human beings will willingly embrace. Contextualization as well as opening up to other communities.
Do you think we should use messages, as it were, portrayed or reflected in the Holy Quran, for example, from Hazrat Yahya Islam, also the Bible predominantly, John al-Islam, and also there are numerous ayats talking about other people's beliefs as well. So, for example, Surah Maida talks about the Christians.
Definitely.
Some of those who are Mu'min, when they actually cry and shed tears. Perhaps maybe we can use mediums like this to sort of say, we're not anti-Christian, we're not anti-Jewish, we're not anti-any faith, but this is just an extension to your faiths, as it were. Indeed.
We go back to the Medinan period of the Prophet's message, when the Christians of Najran came to Medina and they entered into what we call an interfaith dialogue with the Muslims.
Absolutely.
When the time for their salah came, Rasul A'adham took his son-in-law, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and said to him, make a space for these Christians in the masjid.
Subhanallah.
And they performed their prayers in the masjid.
Yes.
What does this say? with regards to acceptance and reaching out
Yes. Yes.
to others.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful thing done by the Christian church to reach out to a Muslim Jama'at and say, yes, please come and hold your majalis here, because we recognize in you similarities. We see some of our reflection in you, and that we can build upon to create closer ties. So you can see now where the sacrifice of Imam Hussain salawatullahi alayhi is leading.
Yes.
There's so many different avenues
Absolutely.
which we can pursue with regards to his rising against the Kafir Yazid alayhi, la'anallahi alayhi.
Going on to the sort of focal point of this show today, which is obviously lessons for the youth. How do you think we have a responsibility to ensure that ourselves and also our youth, elders and also peers, brothers and sisters, younger, older, etc., everyone really can keep that fire burning for the love of Imam Hussain Islam, or indeed on a macro level, Islam, and you know, reignite the message of Imam Hussain Islam outside Safar and outside Muharram, for example, 3 months from now. What methods do you think we can actually use?
Quran.
Right.
The message of the Ahlul Bayt in Nubuwwah is Quran. The Shia from day one were always distinguished by one factor and one factor alone. Not only their adherence to the Quranic message itself, i.e. acting it out, but their recitation of the Quran. This is a distinguishing feature with regards to Madhab Ahlul Bayt, the relationship that the followers have with the Quran. Recite the Quran regularly and beg Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the tawfiq, to give us the blessings, to put the recitation into action.
Right. Okay.
So the Imam alayhi salam, as we say, Rasul al-A'zam is the walking Quran. Yeah?
Quran in Natiq.
Exactly. Now, when we look at the A'imma, they are aspects of this walking Quran. In their given time, they exemplify a particular aspect or aspects of the walking Quran itself. If we say that Imam alayhi salam died to save Islam, then what is the central pillar? What is the central message? What is the central miracle which Rasul al-A'zam delivered? It's the Quran. So Shia madhab is the madhab of the Ahlul Quran, the people of the Quran. So we enact it. And then we enact it firstly at home.
Right.
With our families.
But what would you say if someone were to pose the question, well, I respect the Ahlul Bayt, no doubt, but my mother is different and I read the Holy Quran as well regularly. How would you counter that?
Firstly, can I just finish
a
moment, and then we'll come definitely to your question, Alka. So when I was talking about, implementing the Quran, is at home with regards to the relationships which we have with our children, if we're talking about the youth, that we saturate our children in love.
Right.
But we give them definite guidance.
Okay.
So we strike the balance. Where love needs to be, love is. And also where discipline needs to be, well, it's discipline based upon love.
Yes, yes.
So how does that relate to the message of Imam Hussain salawatullahi alayhi? It relates in that we are creating stable children who are able then to carry on the message and see in the message love coming from Allah Azza wa Jal and being in the home. My father is a follower of Imam salawatullahi alayhi, or how do I know? How he dealt with me. He dealt with me in a particular manner which showed, yes, it's not only lip service, it's embedded in the heart. How we treat our young boys and our young girls, how we treat our husbands and how we treat our wives. Because the family is the bedrock of a Muslim community.
Yes.
And that family then becomes a beacon of the message of the Imam. So how do we carry it on after these months? Firstly within the family. The message of the Imam alayhi salam begins at home.
Right.
Moving on to your question, Agha, with regards to, well, I recite the Quran, I love the Ahlul Bayt in Nubuwwah, or I respect them. Respect is different than love.
Of course.
Okay? And loving the Ahlul Bayt in Nubuwwah means you take them as your awliya, your masters. If Imam Ali alayhi salam commands you to do something, you do it without question. And he stands in the position of Rasul al-A'zam. And Rasul al-A'zam is the Khalifa of Allah Azza wa Jal on earth. And we know throughout the Quran there are specific ayats and ahadith which tell us there will be 12 leaders after Rasul al-A'zam. Leaders. Okay?
Yes.
Leader means you have people following the leader unquestionably. Okay?
Right.
So respecting them is one thing. Show that respect by following their commands.
Okay.
Yeah?
Right.
And actually you're following the commands of Allah Azza wa Jal.
Of course.
Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't give us individuals to follow who make mistakes. And sometimes, they're asked a question and they don't know the answer. Or for example, they may do moral actions which are questionable. Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't fall into these type of mistakes. Allah Azza wa Jal is the perfect being, and Allah Azza wa Jal gives us examples to follow who are perfect examples. Innaka la'ala khuluqin azim, Allah Azza wa Jal says about Rasul al-A'zam and his atba, and those who follow him, i.e. the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt in Nubuwwah. Yeah, so we have the understanding that yes, people can respect them.
Yeah. It's not good enough.
No, not at all.
Right. Okay.
And that then translates into how we form a relationship with the Quran.
Yes, quite right.
Yeah, how we perform Hajj, how we give zakat, and so on and so forth. The Ahlul Bayt have been left as those two weighty or heavy things. You cannot get to the Quran except via the Ahlul Bayt.
No doubt.
You'll have the recitation. Anyone can recite. You can go to SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies, and I can pick out at least 20 individuals who can recite Quran better than myself, who are non-Muslims.
Right.
They know Tajweed, they know all the ahkam. They'll make us look, as if...
Ordinary.
Definitely.
Okay.
We'd embarrass ourselves in front of them.
Okay. But when you mean recitation of the Holy Quran, you do mean also the tafsir?
Well,
or would that come later on for youth?
When we talk about, the tafsir of the Quran for the youth is very important as well. Because the true interpretation of the Quran, well, let me be more precise. When we talk about tafsir, we mean removing the veil of something so we can see that thing.
Right.
Yeah? So pulling back the veil. You can only get the tafsir from the Ahlul Bayt in Nubuwwah.
Okay. Is there a tafsir that you'd recommend for, that's translated in English, essentially? Is there a tafsir that you would personally recommend?
For the youth?
For the youth.
Okay. Let's step outside of Islam for a moment.
Right.
When we look at our Christian brothers and sisters, they've got Bible stories, they've got Bible for children, etc.
Yeah.
We need to wake up to this reality that sometimes when we write, we're not writing at the appropriate level of understanding for our children. And our children love the Quran, okay? They don't have a profound understanding of it, but it's at the center of their lives. They don't know what it contains, but they know it's important, yeah? And we see our children kissing the Quran when they're beginning to open it, when they're putting it back, they kiss it, they put it in a respectful place. So let's build upon that, okay? And let us produce tafasir which are at their level of understanding.
Okay.
To my knowledge, for children, there is nothing out there in English that I know of.
Right.
There are small sections, let's say, but a concise book No, not at all. I can't think of any. However, if we're talking about those who are of an elder age range, there is this effort being conducted, I believe, by, it's called, they're called a group of Muslim scholars.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether they're from Qom or Najaf, so I don't want to say, give credit to one or the other.
Sure.
But I think they're up now to the 19th volume of their tafsir, and it's very accessible. I'm trying to remember the name, but it's escaped me for now. So there is that, and then you have obviously Al-Mizan. That's for the more nuanced reader. But if we're talking about in English, that's only up to, I think, the 5th chapter, Al-Ma'idah.
Right.
So we're limited, really, when it comes to tafsir works in English of a concise nature.
Yes.
Yeah? And we need to change this.
Yeah, we do. Okay. My next question is it impossible to follow or implement the message of Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam Hussain al-Islam because he reached such a lofty high level? Surah Fajr highlights this right at the end. There are a number of other ayat, as it were, in the Holy Quran, hadith, as it were, of his position. He is the ark of salvation. His tawassul is faster than the other members of the Ahlul Bayt. Not that I'm putting them down or anything. But
Not that you're prejudiced.
Not that I'm prejudiced. So a number of Tashayyu followers would say, of course, he is what he is, but it is impossible. I mean, on a practical level of what he did, one could say, yes, of course it is impossible, but the actual message itself, implemented stage by stage in your life, is that impossible?
No, not at all. I think Allah Azza wa Jal gives us examples which we can exemplify in our everyday lives. And that's what the Sunnah actually is. The Sunnah actually is to exemplify the Islamic teachings in your life. And the Prophet has said that his way is the best way. As he said, prayers you've seen me pray, we also take it on a wider level that the behavior of Rasul al-A'zam is the true behavior which an individual should pattern their lives after. The true inheritors of the Sunnah of Rasul al-A'zam are the Imams. And if we can follow the Prophet's example, then we can follow the example of the Imam alayhi salam. Yes, the Imam reaches a particular level.
Yeah.
But there's also room for us,
of course,
to maneuver as well. Yeah. Example: Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, "Aqimus salat wa atu zakat." Establish prayer and give zakat. When we see Rasul al-A'zam praying, we know this is the Aqimus salat, which Allah Azza wa Jalla means. Not only the shape, but the inner aspects of it. It's found in Rasul al-A'zam. It's found in all the Imams. Can I reach it? Well, no, I can't. But I can reach a particular level, which is consummate to my, if I've got any, spiritual refinement.
Yes.
So therefore, looking at the events of Karbala and looking at the Imam alayhi salam, salawatullahi alayhi, in different aspects regarding what he was facing, we can also emulate him in various aspects of our lives. We won't reach the level he is on, but we'll reach a level which is good for us, bi'idhnillah, and Allah Azza wa Jalla will be pleased with.
So, I mean, for a young man, lady, brother or sister between the age of 12 to 17, what would you say they could actually, they could infuse themselves with for this muwadda, and for this ascension, gradually.
Yeah.
Aside from reading the Holy Quran, which obviously is the reference guide for all of humanity, would it be a dhikr? Would it be some du'as? Would it be participation in majalis? Would it be reading certain books? Would it be all of that and more? What would it be? Some sort of fikr?
You're absolutely right, Arthur. All of that and more. But if you're asking me for one, loving your fellow Shia brother and sister.
Right.
Not just saying I love you.
No.
But bringing that love about. Yeah, loving what I want for myself, which is khair, which is good, for my Shia brother and sister.
Being proactive.
Being proactive. Look, the minor things distinguish us. When we establish truth and respect and solidarity amongst ourselves, that's when we start to really replicate the message of the Imam alayhi salam. Not these big events that we hold. Yeah, big events are all well and good. People from different regions come, we eat, we speak, and we go.
Yes.
But on a micro level, on a day-to-day level, it's how we get along with one another.
Yeah.
You have the love of the Ahlul Bayt in your heart. It pumps through your body. I have to respect that. Not that the respect is imposed from outside. My love for the Ahlul Bayt and Nubuwwah makes me love you. Therefore, you are my brother. You are my sister. That's how we build a strong Shia community globally. You know, if we take it outside of the immediate Shia community, the Taghut, those forces which are constantly trying to take humanity into the darkness, fear the message of Karbala, because it exemplifies all that which is good about the human spirit.
Right.
And those true followers of the Imam's message, we find are able to make impacts in different parts of the world, wherever they are.
Okay. Right.
Ayatollah Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, Marhum Dama Barakat, a lover of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, infused with the message, and we're still talking about him today when they wanted to stamp out his memory.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Musa al-Sadr, his brother.
Yes.
And so on and so forth. Men and women in different parts of the world who are wedded to the message of the Imam, they make an impact. Now, that's on the global level. But on the local level, we can also make an impact as well in our families.
Yes.
How we deal with our parents, how we deal with our children, how we deal with our wives, how we deal with our husbands.
Right.
If we really love them, then let the love of Imam Hussain salawatullahi alayhi be the guide for how we respect our parents. The Imam's given us practical things. He doesn't ask us to go and study somewhere for 10 years and learn falsafa upside down and then come back and present ourselves as someone.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you exemplify the true message of the Imam. As the saying goes, every land is Karbala, every day is Ashura. Well then, here we go.
Yes.
Whether I'm working in Tesco's, Primark, Walmart, wherever I am.
It's a struggle.
Yes, definitely.
Aside from the medium of English, how do you think it could be used better or more effectively to unite Arab, Iranian, Indian, Pakistani, convert, revert, Khoja brothers and sisters? I mean, how can we, especially at a young age, so there is less prejudice, or we actually, in the end, inshallah, eradicate all of that prejudice and colour imbalance. It's a big thing.
Sure.
It's a big ambition. But aside from gatherings or events in English, do you think internally as well we should be actually checking for each other by visiting different mosques or centres, or perhaps having some sporting events or some sort of competitive, on a friendly, youthful way, methods, as it were. What do you think?
So when one community is playing with the other, let's say football, they don't kick lumps out of each other. Yes. Whatever brings the followers of the Ahlul Bayt and the Nubuwwah together is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And what would be lovely would be sites which are created where different community members come together. So we get people from Africa, we've got people from the Caribbean, we've got people from Asia, Arabs, Iranians, Turks, Afghanis, all coming together in a particular centre. And using that centre as a site of getting to know one another.
How?
By my just interacting with you as a brother.
Right. Okay.
Or a sister. Not putting my own preconceived ideas on you, projecting them on you. You know, doing husnul dhan, thinking the better of somebody to say, well, look, hold on a minute, I know nothing about this individual. Allow the individual to open up or reveal themselves to me, and I'll take them as they are.
Yes.
As I want to be taken, I'll take other people. So, not prejudging people. So we have this site where people come together, and they're coming together based upon love of Allah Azza wa Jal and love of the Ahlul Bayt and Nubuwwah.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, Sheikh Mohammed. Brothers and sisters, we'll be ending this program now, but I think it's been a fascinating discussion with Sheikh Mohammad Zakaria. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Giving your advice. But that's all we have time for today. Inshallah, till next time, Assalamu alaikum from myself and Sheikh Mohammad Zakaria.